What's up, friends and fam? This is Phil back here with Dave.
What's up?
We're doing something new. We're doing like a webcast YouTube show, something like that. And we just want to talk a little bit about, I guess, tech, automotive, wherever we come from, just the life that we live in the dealership that we work at. And you know, we have a lot of different people with a lot of different views, and there's sometimes we just stay late night and we talk about random things about the dealership, about the automotive world, you know, just about the things that we see, the tools that we use, the people that we encounter. So we figured we just want to document this and maybe inspire someone, maybe someone has some info for us, and we just have a little fun with this. So this is going to be almost like a weekly thing that we're going to be doing. We're just kind of going to hang out and talk about the industry. And I'm going to hand it over to Dave because we both kind of started at different points in our life and we're at different positions. Currently, right now, I am a lube tech manager. So I pretty much essentially, if you want to narrow it down, I look over and try and help the guys. And actually we have a girl over in the lube bay area, which is the ones that do the oil changes and tire rotates. I kind of manage them. And Dave is actually a technician. He's, you know, people call him mechanics, but he's a technician. But I'm going to hand it over to him where he started, and then I'll go over kind of where I started. But
yeah, so now I would probably consider myself to be one of the main heavy line techs here at Alpine, and I've been here for 2 years. I started in the industry in 2014. I actually went to Lincoln Tech, got my automotive degree, went through that whole thing, and then I started off at the bottom. I got hired on at a mom and pop, you know, quick lube shop, and that's where I learned a lot. You know, I was doing oil changes and tranny flushes and driveline services and you name it. And that mom and pop shop really taught me a lot. Shout out to Havley and Express Lube over there on Jewel and Union. They were my family for a while. And then I got out of there, went over to AutoNation. I was a lube tech with them. I got hired on as a lube tech with them. And that's when I started branching off and buying a lot of tools, and that's where a lot of people start to confuse the mechanic side. Some people think that, you know, we don't need to buy a whole lot of tools. You know, dealerships are going to provide you with a lot of stuff. Dealerships will provide you with like the specialty tools that, you know, the manufacturer requires you to have to do certain jobs, but I can't even tell you how much money I've spent on tools in the past, you know, 6 years that I've been doing this. It's insane. It's a never-ending tool bill because, you know, with how new these cars are getting, I'm always having to find, you know, new tools, different ways to take off certain things. But anyway, back into the AutoNation stuff. I started off with a little baby, you know, Craftsman cart. You know, I had the essentials. I had, you know, a little socket set, an impact to take my wheels off, and a couple filter wrenches, you know, because I was just doing oil changes. And then once I decided, yeah, you know, I want to do this for a while. This is cool. You know, I talked to my manager there, and I became an apprentice. And I apprenticed under a diesel technician and a transmission technician, and I learned a lot. I was with AutoNation for 2 years. I eventually went on to be online myself. They kind of threw me to the wolves, which was like the scariest thing, because you think that you can do it and go out and just start tearing cars apart until they start doing it to you. You know, they start giving you tickets and you're like, holy cow. Yep. I'm not even sure if I know how to do this, but I had good teachers when I was coming through, and they taught me a lot, so I can work on a car front to back, which is good. You know, I'm not, you know, a specialty guy that only does this or only does that. So I had good teachers, and then after I parted ways with AutoNation, I came to Alpine, and I've really placed my feet in here. You know, I've I've been doing a lot more heavy line, so that's kind of what I am here now. I'm a heavy line tech, do everything from engines to little pieces of trim in the headliner and stuff. So I do it all, but it's been a process. It doesn't definitely have to be serious about doing this job before you can just jump in it and say you want to be a mechanic, because it's a lot.
Yep,
that's for sure. It's a lot of patience, and I've spent a lot of money in this stuff too, which is crazy. I didn't even expect to be spending this kind of money.
Oh, of course.
Toolboxes and tools, and it's insane.
And for those that don't know, I'm still here too. This is Phil. I just wanted to let Dave kind of go over his situation and where he came from. But for those people that, like Dave briefly touched on, we'll talk about this in a different episode, but the cost of tools, I mean, we have technicians here, like he said, it's a never-ending bill. And some tools, I mean, just the tool boxes, not even the tools. We have a technician here that actually spent $15,000 on just the toolbox, and it's a necessity. I mean, you can't walk around with Craftsman handbags or anything like that to get jobs done. So yeah. This industry is a very costly thing, but like Dave said, you have to have passion for it in order for you to want to invest in it.
Exactly.
And before we go too much farther, I guess I'll say my story. I started in 2011, and now shout out to Alpine Buick GMC. We're located in Littleton, Colorado. That's where me and Dave met. That's where we work currently. And I actually started here as a porter in 2011, and I had worked in like clothing retail. I was a manager at retail stores. I was a manager at a cell phone store, and I had a buddy that reached out to me and he said, hey, we're looking for someone to clean and detail cars and take people home, and just being a porter, like a lot tech / porter. A lot of places call them different names, but he did say that they needed help. So I wanted to make the jump from being the regular old retail, and I wanted to do something new. So I'm not 100% sure on the timeline, but I've been here for 8.5 years. So in 2011, like I said, I don't know timeline, but I went from a service porter to a lube tech, which is the guy that does oil changes, tire rotates, and the little small miscellaneous things. And then I went to lube tech manager, or lube bay manager, however you want to look at it. And then I went to service writing, and then I was actually going to leave, and the day I was supposed to leave as being a service writer, I was going to go to a different dealership, and they actually said that they needed help with the technician in the back. So, a mechanic technician, kind of the same thing, in case we go back and forth using that word. But they asked me to become a technician in the back, so I became a technician's helper, or an apprentice, however you want to look at it, and I did that. And then I went on my own. Like Dave said, he was thrown into the fire, fed to the wolves. I was helping some technician that we have here, and then one day they said, hey, you're good enough to go on your own. And it's one of the scariest feelings to go on your own, because you're on 100% commission. And I went on my own, and I was a technician, and then I actually currently am back to being a lube tech manager, lube bay manager. But that's where I am in my 8.5 years. I had kind of dabbled. Like, I never went to school or anything like that, but helping friends and stuff in their garages, doing little stuff, smoking out tail lights and doing lift kits, replacing steering gears, things like that. I had dabbled in, but like I said, it was like just friend stuff, and it was nothing too serious and major. I never had been to a dealership actually before I started working here. I always went to little mom and pop stores, but that's currently where I am. And we just kind of, like I said, we started this, we wanted to do this just because we talk about this all the time, and I feel like if we talk about this, I've seen people on YouTube or podcasts or whatever, and they talk about this industry, and I feel like there could be a lot more added to this industry than the cookie cutter, just normal things. So we want to give like a behind the curtain, behind the scenes look at some of the things that happen here. Not necessarily everything, like we're not going to expose anybody or any shops or anything like that, but just want to kind of give like an insight, because a lot of people do ask, what's the daily life of a technician? What's the daily life of a service writer? And how did we get started and stuff like that? So we figured we just kind of share our sides of the story, and we're going to be talking to and interviewing and having on, you know, our show. We want to have salespeople. We want to have, you know, other technicians get their sides. We want to have maybe older technicians. We want to have service advisors. We want to have porters, lot techs, whatever it be, detailers, and kind of get different.
Yeah, even a parts employee.
Right, exactly. And the more different angles we can have and the more people we can talk to, I feel like that is going to open up people's eyes and maybe help out the industry a little bit. Because I feel, I mean, Dave probably agrees, but like dealerships from 10, 15 years ago have such a bad reputation and have scared off so many people that, like, I feel like if we give a little bit of insight and we show the pros, cons of, you know, this kind of lifestyle, then it helps people out in the end, you know?
Oh yeah, I know when I was younger, when I used to think of dealership, like, oh man, that's where the people spend money, you know, because it's so expensive to go to the dealer. But I mean,
yeah,
now the way these cars are, you almost have to go to a dealership, because
yep,
that's why they don't even call us mechanics anymore. They're like just a big electronic device with wheels.
Yep.
There are so many different computers in there. So I mean, dealerships have changed a lot in the past, you know, like 10, 15 years, and that's because of the way the cars are. And you know, to go off of what Phil was saying, you know, talking to other people that work here, the life of it at a dealership, you know, we're all a team, you know, like if there wasn't a service advisor, you know, me as a technician, I wouldn't make any money. You know, if I didn't have a parts guy, I wouldn't make any money, and that would not make the service advisor money, you know. So it's all a big snowball here at the dealership, and that's what I like. Like, everybody kind of helps everybody here, and that's a lot different than when I was used to working at a mom and pop shop. But
exactly.
It's great. It's cool, man. I really enjoy it. I've been working for, you know, the dealership for 2 years now here, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and we do want to make a video too, you know, like an episode later, of the pros and cons of dealerships versus independent shops, because this is the only place that I have ever worked at. And I hear, you know, a lot of technicians and people in service and everything, they come from different places, different backgrounds, and for me to be implanted in one place for almost 9 years, and me only knowing this, I'm actually curious to interview and talk to other people that have come from different places and backgrounds, just because I want to hear that side of that. So like Dave said, you know, we are a family store here. And not that the thing I have learned at being at this dealership, and even like talking to other people and other friends that have, you know, moved on or work in different dealerships or different brands or anything, every single dealership, whether it's dealership or independent, actually every single shop is totally different on how they operate, how they do things, and how they hire. Every single thing is different. So
yeah, every place is different.
Yes, and we just want to give an insight, and like I said, I'm this is my curiosity too. I reached out to Dave and I said we should start to make these episodes just so you know, we can talk, we can learn, we can grow. And you know, what if a service advisor, a service manager, or a parts manager, or like someone that is interested in stepping into this field, like maybe they're 16, 17, 18 years old and they're trying to figure out if they want to go to school for this, just what this field and industry is about. Like maybe it'll help someone and we can learn, and like we can teach people and we can give insight. It's all kind of going to be wrapped up into, you know, the episodes, and this is the purpose of doing them.
Yeah, just to give you all insight, you know, what goes on. I only worked at an independent shop for a little while, and like I said, I was just a lube tech there, but I mean, the way it worked there, you know, you could be working on, a Subaru, 1 minute, and then you'll have a Ford roll in. Which, I mean, if you want all that knowledge and you want to be able to, do different things throughout the day, then an independent shop's probably perfect for you. But, working at a dealer, I see, the same, 8 to 10 models throughout the day. I see the same trucks, the same cars, the same engines. So I get real comfortable with stuff, and that's where the independents and the dealerships kind of go their separate ways. And it's just your preference. I like to know what I'm working on. I like to, we figure out certain ways to do certain jobs that, that are gonna, pay us well. So I've gotten that trick down, and I've come to really understand the way GM products work, and that's why I will work on GM products for probably the rest of the time that I'm doing this career. So
exactly, and like he said, I mean, even at dealerships, we're a Buick GMC dealership. We see every other, like, you would never think that we see, Audis, and we see Jeeps, we see BMWs, Infinities, Fords all the time.
There's a Ford outside that needs an engine, actually.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the thing too, is like it's a constant learning curve when you are a technician, because I was a technician for a little bit of time, and not one job is going to be the same as even if it's the exact same thing as what you just did, there's going to be a curveball and something different from the last time you did this exact same job.
You're gonna have a bolt that's gonna not fit back right, or something is going to go different, even though it's the same exact engine on the same body style of car. Something's gonna change, and it's gonna piss you off. But you have to know how to separate yourself from that to be a good tech.
Yep.
If you can't separate yourself from that, and you get really angry, your temper, that's what separates good techs from bad techs. If you can just recognize it when it's there, and then say, okay, this is whatever, but I'm gonna get through it, and then just keep trucking on the job, you'll be fine. But I mean, being a tech is not, it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it if you put in the effort and stuff.
Yes, yeah, it is a very, very stressful position.
Yeah.
I feel like at the dealerships, not this one, but every dealership, even other ones, because when I was a porter, and I would have to go pick up cars from other dealerships, or just visit friends or buddies or whatever it be at different dealers, it seems like they're all on the same page. You never see them run smoothly. It's constant. I mean, every single person, the service manager, service writer, the porters, the detailers, the salespeople, the sales managers, everyone is always on edge at every single dealership. So it's
there's always something going on,
right?
Which is the difference between an independent. Independents, people drop their cars off, they say, just call me, call me. Dealership, sometimes during the day we will have a waiting room filled with people.
Oh yeah.
And me being in the back, that could mean I have 3 different waiters, and they want it all diagnosed today to find out what's wrong with their car, and it gets pretty hectic.
Yes.
There's never, I guarantee you, anytime you come to this dealership and you pull into the drive, there's always going to be somebody up there doing something, because there is, it's never quiet here. It's never quiet.
Nope.
Which is good.
Yeah. And yeah, it's good for business. And every dealership, no matter, I have a friend that works at a BMW dealership, and I don't know if you guys are accustomed to hearing or seeing any of this, but I saw, when I visited him a long time ago at a BMW dealership, I'm not going to name the name, but they had 6 service porters that were in the service drive, and they had, I think he said 12 or 15 service riders, and their increments of appointments were every 15 minutes. And
insane.
Yeah, completely insanity to me, but they worked, they've been in business, they know exactly what they're doing. So
that was the place we went to, and they had 2 different crews running.
Yes.
They had a day shift and a night shift, fully staffed shop.
Yep.
Insane.
The mechanics, yeah, they were on. You know, you go to like most mechanics, which is independent and you know, dealerships. You have like a 9 to 6, 8 to 5, whatever shift. But this specific dealer that we had visited and we saw, the one that had, you know, the 6 porters on the drive and the 15 service riders, they had 2 shifts of technicians. It was, I believe, the first shift was 7 to 3, and then the other one was from 2 to 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So every dealership is different, and it's insanity to us because we don't deal with that, but it flowed with them.
Yeah, it's normal to them, and it's crazy to us. You know, it's just like going back to the comfort zone. You know, we have a system that works here. You know, so we're not gonna hop in and try to do something totally different and then throw off the vibe. You know.
Yep. But I don't mean to cut this short. I just wanted to. This is a little sample, a little bit of what is to come. There's so much that we can talk about, so many aspects, so many things we're going to touch on. But we just wanted to kind of explain where we have come from and where we are in our current situation and kind of what we want to touch on. But this is the intro, so please like, share, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. There's so much more to come. We appreciate all the support that has helped us and pushed us to where we are now. If you look back at some of the videos, you know, me and Dave have done some funny videos. We've done some mukbang videos where we eat random foods.
Some instructional stuff.
Yeah, so exactly, and we did some instructional things. So this is kind of just what's to come. We're going to be doing a lot more episodes, but please like, share, subscribe, stay tuned, and thank you for tuning in.